Well, my most recent trip to Cambodia was actually part of a series of short-term missions trips I've been involved in over the past 5 or 6 years. And that was just sort of another step towards my first call sort of to missions, and the idea of it that came a few years back, where I was at a missions weekend at First Alliance Church, and Buzz Maxey was speaking and just said, be involved, you know, being in missions isn't always a whole life career. And I just got on board with the youth ministry at First Alliance Church and started doing short-term trips, and then as soon as one would come up, I would pour myself into it, and if I was supposed to go, it would happen, and then if not, you know, other plans would come up. But so I was just sort of following a pattern I developed of just as soon as there was an opportunity for short-term missions, I took it, because I love to travel, and Cambodia was an exciting opportunity for that. A little bit of my background. I spent my early childhood, my first 8 years or so, living in southwest Germany with my parents, who were missionaries at the time, and that was probably my first exposure to definitely another culture and missions idea, and some of it I was too young to understand at the time, but as I grew up I kind of began to realize the value and the difficulty of missions as sort of a career. And also I really do cherish the sort of part of me that has another culture attached to it, the part of me that remembers Germany and remembers the language and enjoys the culture, especially the food. And so it was a good thing where growing up there really exposed me to that. And then it just sort of grew up from there. It just was a natural part of me, because that's where I had been exposed to it early, and it wasn't something scary or far off. It's something I'd already seen firsthand, experienced, and realized the rewards of it too. We were there for a couple of weeks. We went down and we were partnered with Place of Rescue, which is an orphanage there in Phnom Penh, and it was a phenomenal partnership. So we went down with Blaine Sylvester, who's one of their employees here, and it was a phenomenal trip. So we sort of had our trip split into a couple parts. We had the first part where we were working strictly with the orphanage, just doing crafts with the children and spending time there, and also just touring and learning about it so that we could tell others back here at home. And then the main portion of our trip was spent with a couple missionaries named Bill and Alana Lobazu, and we were partnering with them in an English camp there. So what that is they had invited local university students from all over the Cambodia region to come and just practice English with native speakers. And they had a core group of 10 students who were housed sort of in a dorm there that were doing like discipleship training. And then the rest of the students were from the community, from the surrounding area, their friends or people they just run into. And we just went and taught them English. So what that looked like is we had about 7 straight days where we would get up and sing silly songs, where we would play fun games, and in the afternoons we'd do an out trip somewhere. So we went to like a zoo, or we went to their palace as well. And that was like sort of little mini culture snippets. And then in the afternoons we would spend a large portion of time just speaking. So, hi, my name is, how are you, how old are you, what do you like to do in your free time? A lot of these basic things that you would think that you really don't need teacher's qualifications to handle if you speak English. So it was a phenomenal experience there.